What's up, everyone? Andy from WagerTalk.com. Dana White Contender Series is finally here. We got week one. We're going to go fight through fight and give you a breakdown. Dana White Contender Series was a really nice source of profits last season. We hit 70% of our winners, and the best bet for this week is up. Traditionally, I will just have one bet. That's all I need to grab a couple of units. So we'll go through these fights, give you some thoughts here, and explain some of the fighters. We will be live on the YouTube channel, Takedown Live. I will be live. Hopefully, Jim will be there, and we'll be going over the fights, watching them live. We got some fun stuff that we do. And I continually say this. Watching Dana White Contender Series is more fun than most of the UFC events. It's only a couple hours. There's 5 fights. It's young, hungry prospects. There's some incredibly exciting fights, great personalities. It is an absolute blast. So let's get into Dana White Contender Series Week 1. I'll try and explain some of these fighters. Trying to find some of these guys' fights are pretty tough sometimes, but they're a blast. So we'll start with the first fight, Kevin Borjas and Victor Diaz. You got Diaz as a really big favorite here, and what you have is a grappler versus striker matchup. Victor Diaz is a really good grappler. He gets finishes on the ground, a lot of them by submission. So if we want to look at some of his records here, so yeah, he gets the arm triangle against Thiago Bello in a really good fight. I thought this fight against Abrimov was probably his best performance. You see Abrimov come out and surprise everyone. He goes for the takedown on Diaz. He gets him on the ground. Diaz gains his composure, reverses it. And then in round 2, the same thing happens. Abrimov gets the takedown. Again, Diaz reverses it. But in round 3, Diaz is ready for it. He comes flying out of the gates. He takes Abrimov down. Now he starts the round on top, and he works it into a really good armbar. It was almost a triangle, but they end up calling it an armbar. That was a good win against a very experienced and good opponent. And so, arm triangle, arm bar, rear naked choke. So Diaz has really come into his own as a really good grappler. And he's fighting Kevin Borjas, who's got a good record at 8-1. Not really good quality of opponents here. The guys that he's fought are really just stand-up guys. And now listen, he's going to strike. And Diaz has a gigantic hole in his game, and that is his striking defense. So you have to, if you're betting on Diaz, you have to be pretty convinced that he's going to stay out of the way of Borjas striking, because when Diaz throws strikes or he's moving around, he's leaving all sides of his face wide open, and Borjas will certainly notice that. So if Diaz can get it on the ground, it's going to be a long, long night for Kevin Borjas. But if Diaz gets on the ground, he should be looking good. He has just got to stay away from those. He's got to stay away from those strikes. So as far as picks go, it's a pretty steep price that you got here on Diaz. Tapology shows minus 395. I've got it at minus 400. So obviously you're going to have to parlay it with something if you like it. Or if you're worried about Diaz and his striking defense, Borjas worth a sprinkle. Dana White Contender Series fights. He wants guys to finish, and this could be a fight where Borjas goes for broke, gets the finish, and gets a contract. So both these guys clearly will be going for finishes in this one. Fight 2, Payton Talbott, Reyes, Cortez. This is going to be a really good technical fight. They're both technically sound. They have good skills on the feet. So I'll start with Payton Talbott. So Talbott's a really exciting fighter. He comes from Uriah Faber's A1 Combat. Hasn't lost a fight. It's fought decent competition. I don't want to say he's I guess he's kind of a polarizing looking fighter. Like, he's not super flashy in a cocky way or anything, but he just, like, your eyes are kind of drawn to him. He's tall, he's lanky, but he's very strong. Look at here. He's finished every single one of his professional fights. So he's got good cardio. He's going to have the height and reach advantage. And I think if we're just talking about upside, Payton Talbott has the upside. Like, if he wins and he looks great and he gets a KO, UFC is going to be very, very excited about giving him a contract, because I think he's marketable, and just the way he fights is pretty exciting, and he just looks good in the ring. Reyes Cortez, I don't think he's got as much upside, but he's definitely more polished as of now. So he's fought the better competition. He lost Contender Series to Christian Rodriguez. That does not look like a bad loss at all. Christian Rodriguez is 2-1 in the UFC, so I'm glad that they're giving him another chance to come back. And kudos to him. He loses in Contender Series. What does he do? He goes out and he rips off 2 wins, convinces UFC, hey, I deserve another chance. He's not that exciting of a fight. He just does everything good. His striking is good. His defense is good. His kicks are good. So it's kind of an interesting fight here, and the odds are telling you that it's pretty close. I mean, they have Talbott at -140 right now. I think it's more closer to even. So if you're looking at upside, I think it's Talbott, but this is going to be the biggest. This is going to be the best fighter that Talbott has ever faced. So this is a really close one. I don't know if it's like, do you want the younger high upside guy, or do you want the little bit more of a veteran who's a little bit more polished everywhere? So should be a good fight, entertaining. Hopefully we get a finish in that one, because I would love for whoever wins that one to get a contract in the UFC. All right. Now we got these two guys, Caio Machado and Kevin Szaflarski. So the reason I'm laughing is this is just going to be a low-level fight. It's going to be probably pretty rough to watch. So you've got Kevin Szaflarski, who is 11-1. He's coming from these Polish leagues. Has not fought anybody that I would consider good, even though they may have good records. Like this guy, this guy's 7-1. None of these guys are fighting really good guys. His fights are damn near impossible to find. You got to really search. But Szaflarski he's very low volume. He will dominate the clinch if he can. If he can get you up against the clinch, he will hold you there and he'll wear on you. And it can make for a very boring fight. He loves the clinch. And he's going up against somebody that I think he can win the clinch as long as he weathers the early storm. Caio Machado likes to come out pretty fast. Look at this. So round one finish, round one finish, round one finish, round one finish. He does have one fight that went to decision. They were both 2-1 in that. So here's my issue with Caio Machado. And if you've already researched this, you know where I'm going. Okay, so his last opponent he beats, 44 years old. Okay. He beats Lee Main, this is not a typo. This man is 56 years old now. He beat a guy in his mid-50s. Caio Machado did. And I don't know how you kind of compare Caio Machado's quality of opponent to Szaflarski, because they're both really, really not that impressive. And it's like, well, who had the least impressive? I don't know. A guy in his mid-50s doesn't seem that impressive to me. And then you got Szaflarski beating guys on the Polish regional scene. So here's what I know is going to happen. Machado's going to come out fast, and he's going to try and get the finish. Can he do it? Absolutely. Is it going to be more difficult than a mid-50s-year-old? Yes, it's going to be more difficult. If Machado does not manage his cardio, he's done. Machado gets tired at the end of the first round. So if Szaflarski can kind of manage that early storm and push Machado up against the fence, I think Szaflarski has it as the fight goes on. In fact, I would also venture to say that Machado, if he doesn't finish in round one, probably gets finished himself because he gets so tired, and Kevin's going to push him up against the fence, land those body shots, make it dirty. The problem is he's so low volume. Is he going to have the power and the volume to knock out Machado? I don't know. It's a low-level fight. There's a chance Machado ends him early, and this is just a wild, hilarious, incredibly exciting fight. Or Machado does not win, gasses out, and then it's a 3-round absolute bore fest. I think this one is pretty tough. The odds are just like even. I do like Kevin to win because I do think Kevin is tough enough to weather the storm for Machado. But what I'm doing is I'm basically thinking that Machado wins first round or comes close, and then Kevin wins round 2 and 3. My lean is to Kevin. The money's coming in on Kevin, so if you're going to bet him, I would bet him sooner rather than later. But there's a chance that this fight is going to be fairly boring. Now, let's move on to a fight that is not even going to be remotely close to boring. This is Nolan and Bogdan Grad. you need to know the name Tom Nolan. If you don't know him now, you're definitely going to know him after this fight. And if he wins and he makes it, gets a contract, gets into the UFC, look out. This guy puts on some insanely exciting fights. I believe he comes out of Australia, and he's 5-0, and he is an absolutely relentless striker. He's taller, he's 6'3", and he just does not stop throwing punches. He's ended his last three, and his fight against Adam Cook was insane. I don't know how Adam Cook survived some of those strikes, and then the ref just apparently did not like Adam Cook because he just let Tom Nolan just tee off. And how Nolan did not get tired, I will never know. But Nolan has shown he's got incredible cardio, great power. He's wild. Like, I think he's got a lot of holds. Like, you can take him down. His strength and his cardio is so good as he can just get right back up. So I'm looking at Grad here. And Grad, man, very, very strong. He's got very good striking. Great punches, great kicks. His body kicks are really good. Those are going to come in really handy to try and damage the body of Nolan. The problem that I think Grad is going to have is this reach advantage and the height advantage. So Grad is going to have to get in close to land those kicks and land those punches. And Nolan is just going to become firing back. For every one that Grad throws, Nolan's going to throw two. So the good news for Grad is he has great cardio. His strikes are very strong. When I'm looking at Grad here, his fight against Renzo Mendez went the distance, but it was a fantastic fight, very high level. You wouldn't expect it from a cage FS, but it was a really good fight. He has a couple finishes here, so both guys can finish. It's a Tom Nolan fight. I'm telling you right now, this fight ain't going the distance. I don't know what the odds are and not go the distance. This fight ain't going the distance. Somebody's getting finished. So with the aggression that Nolan has and the accuracy of the strikes that Grad has, unless Grad does something crazy and take Nolan down and try and hold him down for 3 rounds, but it's Contender Series. You don't get rewarded for that. This fight ain't going the distance. This is the most exciting fight I think that is on the card. And if Tom Nolan wins and makes it into the UFC, think kind of Trevor Peak level of excitement where just throwing haymakers, except Tom Nolan has much better cardio. So it's going to be wild. It's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait for this one. I'll wait for the props to come out. But, yeah, if you're looking for a parlay piece, this one to not go the distance is definitely one to look at. And finally, we got Cesar Almeida versus Lucas Fernando. It's main event. You got a kickboxer here versus an MMA veteran. Cesar Almeida is a kickboxer. He's got really good power, but you just worry about can he weather the takedowns. So Cesar Almeida, he technically has 3 MMA fights on his resume. He's won all 3 of them by knockout. One guy he fought was 0-0. Another guy he fought was 0-0. And the other was 5-28. So you're like, I don't know about this one. He even lost his last kickboxing match. And he is older. That's the thing. He's 35 years old. I had to look it up. Lucas Fernando, they have him listed at 26 years old. So Fernando's 9-1 and really good. This is a really good prospect. He's very well-rounded. He's going to be taller, and he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage, and that's going to help if he wants to work the takedowns. If he's smart, he will work the takedowns. You just worry that what if he wants to stand and bang with a kickboxer to impress Dana White, try and get a knockout? But if he wants to get a finish, I think he can do it on the ground. I think it's his easiest path to victory because I haven't seen Almeida ever get tested with a takedown, and I've seen Fernando get takedowns, and he's able to hold guys there. So I like Lucas Fernando. He's got great cardio. You see, he beat Silva in his last fight in LFA. He knocked him out in round 4. So if you can do a round 4 knockout, that means you got good cardio. My guess is this does not go the distance because if Almeida is going to win, it's probably going to be a KO on the feet, which this is a kickboxer. He absolutely can knock you out. But if Fernando gets him on the ground, I don't think it'll be that hard for him to work a submission or ground and pound. I think his MMA skills are so much better than Almeida's, but the flash knockout always worries you. So This is a Contender series. They're looking for finishes. I think the Tom Nolan's not going the distance, and I don't think this one's going the distance because no matter who wins this fight, I think it's quick. Like I said, Almeida's going to have to get the knockout in order to beat Fernando. If not, could be a long 3 rounds on the ground, or he gets submitted or ground and pounded. So that's going to be the Dana White Contender series. Borjas Diaz, I do lean Diaz in that with the grappling advantage. Payton Talbott and Reyes Cortez. I'm going to go with the veteran on this one. Cortez, I think, has fought a little bit better competition. Talbot might be a little bit too early. I think he's got higher upside, and I think he'll make it in the UFC eventually. But it's a little bit too high of a contest. I lean Cortez. Caio Machado and Kevin Szaflarski. I like Kevin Szaflarski in this one. 11-1 coming out of Poland. Not going to be an exciting fight. I think Machado has knockout power in the first round, but I think he gasses himself out. Kevin pushes up against the fence and maybe gets the win over a tired Machado. Tom Nolan, Bogdan, Grad. I don't know who's going to win, but I do know it's not going the distance. That's my most confident pick on this card. If I had to pick a winner, let's go Nolan, just because I think that reach and height's going to be really, really tough for Grad, and Grad has not fought anyone like Nolan, who just keeps coming and coming and coming. If Grad can get him on the ground, he's got a decent shot, and I'm certainly not going to overlook Grad. Not going to bet on the side just to not go the distance. Cesar, Almeida, and Lucas Fernando. I got to lean with the MMA, the 9-1 MMA fighter, as opposed to the kickboxer who's only had 3 very, very, very low-level MMA fights. That being said, Almeida's a kickboxer with a really nice record, and a flash knockout is always a possibility. So, fun fact: Cesar Almeida, he fought Alex Pereira years ago. Fought him twice, 2013, 15. I fought him twice in 2013. So he's fought Pereira 3 times. So that's interesting. But how'd you like to start off your career fighting Alex Pereira? I guess it can only get better from there. So, guys, my best bet is up at WagerTalk.com. 70% winners last season. So go grab that. And join me on Takedown Live. It's the YouTube channel, Takedown Live. I will be live for Contender Series. Very excited to see all of you there. Let's continue the Dana White Contender Series at winning bets. Good luck. We'll see you guys later.